Today I'm doing a bit of a different video that might not go according to plan whatsoever. In 2016 I got really into booktube and I really enjoyed getting my nerd on and getting into reading so much more. I think I've read more this year than I ever have. And on a booktube level, I've not read a lot at all. I think I've read like 22 books this year. Compared to booktube where people are literally reading 100 books. It's not a lot, but for me, that's a lot of books. And I'm proud of that and I think it's a great thing to do. So I want to talk to you and briefly mention all the books I read in 2016 and what I thought of them and whether I'd recommend any of them. I've been asked to do a couple of booky type videos recently and I'd be very happy to do so, and so that's what I'm doing today. I don't think it's going to go well because, I just don't know how to talk about books. I'm just really shit at talking about books, but I thought I'd give it a go. You never know, it could turn out okay. This video is also meant to go up like the 1st of January, so let's just pretend it's the 1st of January and that it's not a super late video. Let's do that, shall we? So the first book that I read this year was George. This was meant to be a children's book. It was in the children's department when I went to look for it, but it was a really, really great book. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was really well written, although it's written for children, so I kind of found the language a little bit simple, obviously, but it was a really great message. It's a perfect book to read for children. I really enjoyed it. I quite enjoy reading books that are YA and that kind of thing, but this was meant for young kids, so a lot of the language for me was a little bit simple and it's just, it's definitely meant for kids. But I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really, really great idea for a book and I recommend this book. Next we have Elizabeth is Missing by Emma Healy. I actually read this book when my grandma was very unwell with dementia, and so it really hit home and I really recognised a lot of the behaviours of this lady. It's about a lady with dementia who is looking for her best friend because she thinks her best friend is missing. It goes back between present time and back to when she was younger, and it was a really, really, really good book. Obviously, like I said, I was reading it at a time where this book was quite personal. I felt like it was very fitting with that time in my life, and so I probably enjoyed it even more and was even more emotional. But it's not just about dementia, it's like a mystery book and I just thought it was really, really great. I always think that Costa Book Award winners are always really good. Costa just knows books. I gave this a 4-star because I think it was a little bit slow in places, but all around it was a really, really, really good book. I also read Of Mice and Men this year. I think everybody knows the story of Mice and Men. 2 guys that are looking for work. One of them has learning difficulties and it's really eye-opening, and it's really just kind of describes the times of what it was like to have a learning disability in those times, how people took advantage of people with learning disabilities at that time. I'm not going to explain what Of Mice and Men is about because I will just not do it well. I gave this book 3 stars because I thought the ending was absolutely amazing. Everybody knows the ending of Mice and Men, I'm sure, but the language is always obviously quite different and I didn't really enjoy it, and I don't know, the ending gave it a 3 stars, but the rest of the book was pretty slow and I don't know, just wasn't really up my street. Next we have The Art of Being Normal by Lisa Williamson. A lot of these books I read at the start of the year and so I don't really remember, they're not fresh in my mind. But this was I remember really liking this book. I think I gave it a 3 stars in the end just because it wasn't like, I think it's a YA and YA for me is a real hit or a miss, and I think some of the language was just not great, but the actual story was really amazing. It's about 2 teenage kids who both have a secret and they're both, it's just very YA, quite chick litty, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. Amnesty International endorsed this book. It highlights some really great issues, but it's just for me a bit like meh. Next we have The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I really love dystopian books and so I really like this. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. I really loved the world. I thought the story was really amazing. I just thought you really, really did get engrossed in the story and you really felt like you were living your life through this lady. But the writing, the writing wasn't really my kind of style. I think the writing did let it down and it kind of made it a bit more tedious and slow, and I don't know, you just weren't as gripped. Even though the story was amazing, the writing didn't make you feel gripped at all, and I don't know, it just kind of let it down. But the actual story is amazing, so if you can get through different writing styles, then I think you'll really enjoy this book. I'm not going to go into too much information about what each book's about, because if you want to know, then you can just look it up. Next, we have Reasons to Stay Alive by Matt Haig. I really wanted to read this book. I am a mental health YouTuber, and so this book is very important. I gave this a 4 stars, I think, and the only reason I didn't give it 5 stars is because I don't have depression, and so I didn't really like emotionally connect with this book. Like, I didn't feel like it was describing my situation, or like I couldn't really I didn't recognise a lot, like some of his things that he was talking about I did recognise, but some of them I was just like, I'm not really sure if that's, I don't know a lot about that. But the actual book was amazing. I think it was amazing that he didn't go into sciencey shit, he didn't go into medical shit too much. He talked about what he had experienced. He talked about his life with depression. He talked about how he is now living a life, and he never thought he'd be able to live that life, and he has conversations with himself from the past. And I just thought the actual writing of this book was amazing. It has lists throughout it. It isn't just like a sit down and read kind of book. It has lots of different things in it, and it's actually really inspired me to want to write about anxiety, because he talks about depression and anxiety and what it's like to live with both. But I feel like there's not very many books out there that are talking about just anxiety, and I think it would be a nice thing to have. There's been amazing reviews for this book. I think if you are somebody that suffers with depression and anxiety, this book will really help you. I just thought it was really great. Next we have Lady in the Van. This was a strange book. I still don't really know how I feel about it. It's a true story. That's what I really loved about it. It's a true story. I think people know Lady in the Van is about a lady who camps out in Alan Bennett's front garden and decides to live there. And it is a really unique book. This lady and Alan Bennett had a really quirky relationship. I'd be really interested to see the film and see how it compares to the book. The book is like 60 pages, or I don't know, it's 99 pages, so it's a really short book, but I just thought it was really funny. It was just a really strange, funny, quirky book. I didn't feel a massive emotional connection to the characters or anything like that, but I did enjoy reading it. I thought it was quite peculiar, but I liked reading it. Moving on to my least favourite book of the year, The Rosie Effect. I really, really did not like this book. It could be because I didn't read the first book, which was The Rosie Project, so I was just going in with the second book, but I just thought it was a really, really not a good book. I thought it was really slow. I thought it was really boring. I managed to actually read the whole thing, which I'm quite proud of, but honestly, I wouldn't bother picking this up. All the other reviews I read for this book weren't great either. I feel really bad just slating a book online, but I mean, I just really didn't enjoy it. It's just all round pretty boring. I gave it 2 stars, I think. The only reason I gave it 2 stars is because I thought I'm maybe not being fair because I didn't read the first one. But I don't think if I read the first one I would have a different opinion. I just thought it wasn't a very good book. Sorry! Next we have A Room by Emma Donoghue. This was a really, really good book. I really enjoyed this. I think I gave it a 4 star. These star ratings are out of 5, by the way. 4 out of 5 stars. I saw the film as well. I think I saw the film before I read the book, actually. I can't really remember, but it's just amazing. This is told from the point of view of a 5-year-old, so at points I kind of wish that I'd heard more from the mum's point of view rather than the son's point of view, but all round it was a really great book, and really sad, and you felt really, really connected to the characters, and just, oh, I just really, really, really love this book. I would really recommend this to anybody. Oh, bloody hell. Next we have Girl Online on Tour by Zoe Sugg. I am not gonna lie, I am probably super biased because I really like Zoe, and I just feel like I want to support lots of people that do YouTube, and I think that it's a really great thing to do, and writing a book is really cool. Obviously it's not really my style of book. It's meant for people much younger than me. I think it's meant for like 14-15-year-olds, so it's a YA novel, and like I said, YA and me, we have a really hit or miss relationship. I do always really enjoy easy, comforting reads, and I felt like that's what this was. And I just really like Zoe, and so I could never ever give it a bad rating, which I know some of you might be really annoyed about. I did actually find this a really comforting, enjoyable book that you just sat and read and you didn't really think about, and sometimes you need that. You don't necessarily want something that's super challenging. I mean, it isn't like the best book that's ever been written, but I thought it was nice, and I think it's amazing that she's written a book. That's really cool. Moving to the complete opposite end of the scale, I read Filth by Irvin Welsh this year. and this is my first Irvine Welsh book that I've ever read, and it was absolutely amazing. It makes you feel every emotion. Irvine Welsh is an amazing writer. The writing in this is unbelievable. It is a horrifically disgusting book, and if you're quite faint-hearted, if you're easily offended, don't go anywhere near Irvine Welsh. Don't go anywhere near filth. But I thought it was a really, really, really amazing book, and the film was really good as well. I saw the film as well, but I was not disappointed at all by this. And it's also unique because you really, really hate the main character. You think he's an absolute idiot, and it's unique reading a book and hating the main character. I think that's quite... Never really read a book like that before. Next, we've got The Reader on the 627. This was a book that was originally written in French. It's by, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his second name, Jean-Paul. I don't wanna. I'm just not gonna do it right. This is a really fun, unique book. I really enjoyed it. It's about a guy who works in a book destroying company, a company that rips books up and destroys them, and it's about this guy who steals pages from random books and sits on the train and reads them aloud, and he gets lots of fans, and it's just a really strange book. I've never read anything like it before, but it was really, really enjoyable. I really, really loved it. I think I gave it 4 stars, and I just thought it was a great book. Next, I read Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. This was a really controversial book of 2016. I think the ending a lot of people didn't enjoy, but I gave this book 5 stars because I thought everything about it was really good. The character development was amazing. Just everything about it I really enjoyed, and I really, really liked the ending. I'm not going to give you any spoilers just in case you've not read it and you'd like to, but books can't always have super happy endings, is all I'm going to say, and I think that book needed that, and I was really surprised by the ending, but I thought it was a really good book, and I wasn't disappointed in any way, shape or form. Slightly long. I think it could have maybe cut out 50 pages of it, but I really enjoyed it, and I really want to read the second one this year. I also read this year We Should All Be Feminists by, I'm going to try and pronounce this, Chimamanda Ngozi I don't know, I really can't pronounce names. Obviously I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I think I bought this book uptown and I read it on the bus home, and I just really, really enjoyed it. I think every school kid should be given one of these and to read it through. It really focuses on why we need feminism now, why feminism is still important now. We should all be feminists. I think it was originally a TEDx talk, so you can go, if you don't want to read the book, you can go online on YouTube and look at the TEDx talk for this. I just think she's an amazing woman, and I just think this book was absolutely great. Next, we have my favourite book of the year. I'm really surprised this is my favourite book of the year. It's a YA, and like I said, I don't always get along with YA books. It's Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda. I gave it 5 stars. I just thought it was really, really good. I thought it was quite a unique book. I thought the writing style was really good. I thought it was really easy. It flowed really well. It highlighted important issues. Everything about it was really, really good, and I didn't expect to enjoy this. I was really expecting to read it and be like, oh, 3 stars. No, I just really love this book. I think everyone should read it. It's so not my kind of book to like as well. YA it's really, usually writing style is quite simple, and I don't know, I changed my perception on a whole genre, this book. I read my first Harry Potter this year. I feel scared because I'm not going to give this 5 out of 5 stars. I am going to definitely read more Harry Potter in 2017. I think the reason I didn't love this is because I've seen the first movie so many times, and my friends keep saying to me, like, honestly, when it gets to book 3 it gets so much better, and so I'm definitely going to persevere, but I didn't give this a 5 out of 5. I gave this, I think, a 3.5 out of 5 because I knew everything that was going to happen, so I didn't think it was that amazing, but we'll see. I'll carry on. Next, I got gifted this book, What I Know for Sure by Oprah Winfrey. It's not really something I would pick up, but I did actually quite enjoy it. I gave it 3 stars. I really liked the kind of self-help aspect of the book. I thought she made some really good points, and she made me actually feel really like, yeah, do it, yeah. However, I did find it really braggy in places, and quite like, I know she's Oprah Winfrey, she's a massive celebrity, and she's really, really famous, really well known, and she's got a lot to brag about, but I just felt like if you're going to write a self-help book or whatever this is, don't bring in stuff that's like, and then this guy turned up at my party. I don't know, I just wasn't really into that part of it, and the first half I gave it 5, the second half of Ginned 2. It wasn't really into it. Next we have The Girl on the Train. I gave this a 4 or a 5 out of 5 because it was just really, really great. I read this after the whole massive Girl on the Train hype and I still really enjoyed it. It probably wasn't worth the insane hype, but it was really, really good. You were guessing up until the very, very end. It wasn't predictable at all. And also I went to see the movie and I thought the movie was amazing as well. Really, really great. Next we have The Shock of the Fall. This book was also a book about mental health. The main character in it suffers from schizophrenia, if I remember rightly. I read this book at the start of 2016. But it's also a Costa Book of the Year, which is why I think it was amazing. Every Costa Book of the Year that I've read has always been really good. I've got something in my eye. Give me a minute. I've also never read a book with the main character having mental illness. I know there's probably lots out there, but this is the first book I've ever read with it and I was just like, yeah, let's have main characters that have mental illness. Let's not make it a taboo topic, let's just do it. Again, with this book you were guessing right up until the end and it was never predictable, and I just really enjoyed it. I would really recommend this book. I have 2 books left to talk about. The first one was J.K. Rowling, Casual Vacancy. Unfortunately, what is in my eye? Right, I'm gonna have to really quickly finish this video because there's something in my eye that's really annoying me. Fortunately, I really didn't enjoy this book. I think I ended up giving it a 2 or 3 star. The ending was really good and by the end you did start to get really attached to the characters and stuff, but it took, honestly, like, how many pages is this? I would say it took me a good 250 pages to actually get into, and any book that happens with, I'm just not into. I felt it was really confusing at the beginning, it was really quite boring at the beginning, I just wasn't interested in the story. I think it took way too long to have to get into it. And I know, like, I really want to like this book because it's J.K. Rowling and all that kind of stuff, but I just didn't really enjoy it. The ending really saved it because you got really attached to the characters and the ending was crazy, but I just wish it was better. I just really wish it was a better book. And the last book I read of the year was The Great Christmas Knit Off. I think because I had such low expectations of this book, I actually really enjoyed it. It was a really comforting book, and the reason I picked it up is because it said Christmas and knit, and I'm into both those things. It's not the best book that's ever been written. The writing style was pretty simple and it was a very predictable book. I knew everything that was going to happen, but it was just so comforting and just really like cozy and just perfect to read at Christmas. It wasn't challenging at all, it was just really like quite sweet. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. So I don't know how this video is going to turn out. I feel like it was very higgledy-piggledy, and that's a great word, higgledy-piggledy, but I just feel like I don't know how that went really. Thanks very much for watching this video, and if you enjoy book videos then I will leave a link down below to loads of great booktubers. That's not me, because I don't think booktube's for me. I don't think I know how to talk about books. But there's some really, really great ones out there that I love watching, especially when I'm feeling anxious. I'll go to booktube and just Thanks very much for watching this video, and I'll see you soon. Bye!